Hello everyone, welcome back to another remote sensing lecture video. And in this lecture video I want to continue talking about the training data criteria by talking about this idea of completeness. Completeness. So what completeness is trying to accomplish is it's the idea that we should make sure the training data covers the full spectral range of the class. Okay? And so just like before, I want to go through a good example. And I want to go through a bad example. So what do I mean when I say that the training data has to cover the full spectral range of the class? Well, if we think about this sample image here and that we're going to pretend that we're actually digitizing training data for, right, we're going to look at the water class again. So if we look at the water class, right, and we feel safe in saying that, this down here is a river we would hopefully call water, right? We would say that this out here, right, this deep water would also be water. And we would say that, the shallow water here would also be called water. Right? But if you think about what I just did, right, inside of this class that we called water, right, I internally broke it up into three different types, right? Deep water, shallow water, and river water. So what completeness is saying is that if we generate training data, we need to make sure that we cover all of the different types, right? Not just water, not just deep water. So let's take a look at what a good example would look like for water. Okay, let's do this again. Let's do water again. Right, so this is a good example, right? We'll grab some training data, right, from the deep water. We'll make sure we grab some training data from the shallow water. And we'll make sure we grab some training data from the river water, right? We've captured all three different sort of types, if you will, for the class. So what would it look like to do this improperly, right? What would a bad example look like? Well, a bad example might be if all we did was say, oh, that's a very big point, right? For like water, 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 water. Okay, we're done, right? Now, hopefully you can see the problem here, right? If we were to go with this side, right, our bad example, we would have only included, right, the spectral range of the deep water, right? And as you remember with the spectral profiles, right, this deep water might look slightly different than the shallow water, and it might look slightly different than the river water. So we're making the algorithm have to work a lot harder, which will probably lead to mistakes, right? If all we give it is this water out here, and then we expect it to predict this water and this water, even though we have, we haven't given it complete information, right? That's why this is called completeness. Just to make this point hit home, I want to go through another example, and I want to go through the idea of vegetation. Because I think vegetation is another one where you can sometimes see people make mistakes. So let's think for a second before we do this, right? If we look at our image, right, there's some manicured, what would most likely be a golf course, right? We've seen this before. We would have some manicured mowed regions, and we would have some forested areas, right? All three of those are vegetation. But again, right, as I'm describing them, I've broken them up into three different pieces. So we have to make sure that what we do covers that full range. So again, a good example would be to make sure that we have some from the golf course, right? We have some from the manicured lawns, and we have some from the forested regions. Okay? So again, to reiterate, a bad example would be if I was just like, hey, I'm just going to get all these trees, right? That's vegetation, and call it a day, right? We've missed the manicured lawns, and we've missed the golf courses. So hopefully that makes sense. If you have any questions, pause the video, go back, rewatch the difference between the good example and the bad example, and please reach out. Thank you.